Welcome to the Wilson Wealth Show, a thought provoking show about building wealth in the new economy. Each week, members of the Wilson Wealth team and their guests will discuss how to navigate the world of personal finance, stocks, real estate, and entrepreneurship to help you build wealth in the new economy. And now, here is your host, Sierra McCosh.
Hello and Happy New Year! Welcome to the first episode of the Wilson Wealth Show. Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Sierra and I have Ablavi and Maurice with me. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Happy New Year. Happy 2K21.
Happy New Year. And you, Maurice?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Glad we made it.
I know, we made it. Can you believe it?
Interesting year. Interesting year.
Yeah, it's the understatement of the century.
Definitely.
So for our first episode, we wanted to kind of reflect on what people usually do, which is resolutions. Losing weight, to making more, saving more money, working on our relationships, devoting more time to self-care, all of these great resolutions that people normally have, right? I know for me personally, after Corona, I am definitely looking to lose weight and save money for sure. DoorDash has killed me. I don't know about you guys, but it really has.
Definitely.
So what about you guys? You guys have any resolutions?
Well, like yours, I'm definitely looking to be healthier in 2021 and get rid of the baby fat because it's only cute on the baby. But yeah, I mean, no knock on people that do resolutions, but I actually don't do them. I typically come up with goals and I just adjust accordingly during the year. I call them intentions, and I guess that's similar to resolutions, just a little bit different.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. What about you, Maurice? Do you have any resolutions or intentions?
It's the same weight goal I've had since I left college, and
it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it's the resolution this year is to stop lying about the process to getting to that goal, and just do it. And definitely, we have some goals that are for the company that you could deem as personal as well, just stay optimistic, just like last year, as we try to recover from some of the blows we've taken in the previous year. Definitely.
Oh yeah, we all want a clean slate, fresh start, right?
Yeah. This is 2020 2.0.
Oh God, I hope not.
The reboot.
So for sure. So I mean, we can all agree that resolutions normally revolve around plans to be healthier and wealthier, right?
Right, definitely.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So most people make these decisions in the beginning of the year, not the middle or late in the year. Start of the year is the best because there's this understanding of a fresh start, and it's the earliest time in the year to start a new endeavor. So because of this, we wanted to go ahead and kick off the year with a series about starting early, titled The Value of Starting Early. So let's start with the obvious one, money. Maurice. According to a May 2019 study done by Bankrate.com, America's top financial regret is not saving early enough for retirement. So, Maurice, you're a financial advisor. Why don't people save early?
That's a good question, Sierra. And really, it comes down to perspective. It's cliche to say that I'm a sports fan, but I am a sports fan. And looking forward to the Super Bowl this year, hoping for a repeat for my Kansas City Chiefs. Or really, I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan, but that's besides the point. When you're watching almost any sporting contest, you'll notice that the teams that they pick up the pace as the clock winds down. And if you're a fan of the team that's trying to come from behind, you have to wonder, why isn't my team playing with this urgency at the beginning of the game when we had all the time on the clock to put the game out of reach? And the answer comes down to scarcity. Humans are influenced by a number of factors, but the principle of scarcity is a big one. And we saw this in 2020 with tissue. You go to the grocery store and you notice, man, the tissue aisle looks kind of barren. And so you would immediately want more tissue, not because you needed it. There was no, to my knowledge, stool related symptoms from coronavirus. To put it. But everybody was grabbing tissue, and to the point where once we had the thing relatively under control and restocked, they were worried about a second tissue run. So I kind of saw another, less severe tissue run, in the last quarter of 2020. And so I think this is relative to doing things with our money early in life. And the problem is we don't understand how much time we actually have to achieve our financial goals. And that's why we don't start early.
Mm. No, okay. No, that makes sense. So what we're talking about is we need to learn how to value our time, basically.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
what can we do to value our time more and start early?
So the humans, we actually have this time thing under control when we first enter the world. I have an 8-year-old, and when she was born, I wasn't really, let's say, parent of the year when my first child was born. I kind of let my wife handle a lot of things, but with my second child, I was really engaged with all things dealing with an infant coming into the world. And so I would go to the doctor's appointments, and I took her to preschool and would talk with the teachers and whatnot. And what I noticed is there was like a 3-month milestone for everything. So from 0 to 12, your kid had a series of checkpoints that they had to go through that culminated with them walking and talking. And then when they would get to preschool, they'd have, I think, a 12 by 12 grid of things that they were either progressing in or needed work on. And there's just these series of checkpoints, and it continues into kindergarten and then K through 12. And if you go to college, it continues until graduation. So for the first 25 years of a human's life, at least in America, we are giving a series of milestones to mark time by and to reach. But then after we kind of reach, early adulthood, the milestones go away. Like we just kind of, all right, you're in the real world. You get married. Yeah. Maybe have a kid. Somebody's always talking to you about that. But when it comes to matters that are largely, that we should be doing. I mean, we're going to get married, we're going to have kids, but handling our money, nobody has a K through 12 milestone, if you will, of getting from broke college graduate to financially secure adults. And I think that is where we drop the ball. We don't create milestones that say, okay, look, I got to get to 25,000 by 25, 100,000 by 30, and so forth. And therefore, by the time it clicks for us, it's almost too late to get started in earnest.
Well, dang.
Maurice, let me ask you this though. At what point do you think it actually clicks for like the average person that you've seen with the firm?
That's a good question, because we got some dynamite clients.
Okay, outside of the firm.
I'll give you a story though,
client.
Blavy. I'll give you a story. Maurice has got stories. He's the old man on the line here. So when I when I started my first job out of college at Chrysler, I'll never forget, they had a financial seminar, and I just remember the guy coming in, and he was kind of like me in terms of, he was cheery. He was living his best life. So he was coming to deliver the news to these 40 somethings that I had just got to know, were in this seminar, and they were getting the truth about what lied ahead for them, or lay ahead for them, in terms of what they needed to have. You're entering that last kind of part of your career, and the dejected look on those 40 something year old faces, I'll never forget it. And so to me, I think people don't click until about late 30s, early 40s. Again, when it's almost too late to really accumulate material wealth, forget retirement, just financial security. And so I'm going to say, for the average American, late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, yeah. I think that's completely true.
Mm-hmm.
As I feel like your 20s, you're just kind of spent grinding and trying to survive and trying to figure out your place in the world. And then you hit your 30s, you get some stability, but you're like, all right, it's time to start a family. It's time to start figuring this out. I'm finally not struggling anymore, you know?
Yes.
So you're not thinking about like actually building a legacy or like generational wealth until, yeah, it's almost too late. Like you've hit your 40s, your 50s, you're like, oh dang, where did the time go? You know, you spent much of it just trying to figure out life itself, you know, which it happens, you know, it really
Exactly.
does.
No, definitely. And I think in addition with not taking your financial goals seriously, we're also inconsistent with our financial goals. I don't think we realize how critical it is for us to achieve our goals and not just talk about them.
Mm,
And I read an article recently in the New York Times, just this from this past March 30th, and I'll just share a little bit. It says the number of retirement age Americans working in retail has increased steadily since the 2008 recession as they look to make ends meet. Nearly
mm,
1/4 of retail workers are 55 or older, and 7% are over 65, according to the Labor Department data. Now, just let that sink in a little bit.
Definitely.
yeah.
I
No,
mean, that is not the happily ever after that most people think about when they are a kid.
yeah, and it's a vicious cycle too, because now we've got all these people who are 65 and older taking up all these retail jobs.
Hmm.
There's a lot less jobs for people like young people coming into the workforce for the first time who need to gain that experience. So then it's just like starting the loop back over where everybody's behind where they should be.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why, I feel so strongly that no matter where you are financially at this moment, you need to determine where you want to be and to start funding your future and the future of those you love. I think a lot of people think that they can't save because what they may have is not much. And they may think, well, why should I bother? But if you just get into the habit of investing and saving a little bit over time and making incremental increases consistently, that's the key word, consistently,
Amen.
I definitely feel like that will allow you to achieve your financial goals. Like Maurice said, most people try to catch up in the end. And in most cases that strategy just doesn't work. Not
Yeah.
not not too many teams win, if they weren't doing anything in the first 3 quarters. And I don't know anything about sports, but I do know
Yeah.
that's just not a good strategy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's and there's a way we should find that stat and use it on a supporting argument for this show. The number of teams that win coming from behind in the last minutes of a sporting contest. I think it's not as high as leading early and closing late.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Hmm.
Absolutely. Well, let's give some people some good news, right? Let's break this down and show them how it can be done, right?
Right, right.
So we've got realize that life has three big time windows and act accordingly. Maurice, can you explain those windows again?
Okay, definitely. So to me, the big windows are 18 to 25,
Mm-hmm.
and that's largely where I think that's where the millennials are definitely suffering, obviously. And so I know millennials get piled on, but I was telling my mom about my brother who's not quite in that demographic, but they've got hurdles that we just did not have. And so 18 to 25, that's when you're coming out of college, getting your career kind of established, choosing where you're going to live. Location is everything. Uh, and then 25 to 45, that's really where the meat of the sandwich, if you will, it is. And you've got to go from youngest guy in the office to kind of that mid-career professional who, is either going to regret some decisions he or she didn't make in their mid-20s or kind of face the third window with a lot of confidence, which is 45 to 65. And 45 to 65 is really tricky because, and this is where I kind of am with a lot of my clients. A couple of things happen in that 45 to 65. One, they've got, high six figure to, low 7-figure account balances, but they start to turn down the risk And what you have to do is you've got to find a way to balance that risk of loss with that goal of financial security. Because the irony of having a big account is that those next big numbers are not that far away, but you've got to stick with it. And so that third window is where you kind of end that game. If you ever watch a sporting contest, when a team has a lead, they'll run a couple of plays, but they're running safe plays, but they're still running plays. They aren't just trying to waste time on the clock. And that's what I try to get my clients to do in that third window. So 18 to 25, 25 to 45, and 45 to 65.
Okay. All right. So we got our windows.
So what happens after 65, Maurice?
I know you. Illness. No, I'm just playing. You know, I'm gonna tell you what happens. So this is something that I do, and this is not really going to answer your question, but unfortunately, you know, our celebrities that we follow pass, and I track. I forget who just passed, but Debo from
from Friday.
And he was what, 60 something?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And I told my brother, and I tell people this, you realize how young a certain age is when a celebrity dies at that age. And you're like, man, he was just, or she was just fill in the blank age. So
Right.
Honestly, did Debo think he was going to pass? I know that's not his name, but did he think he was going to pass? You know, this isn't fun. in his early 60s. I mean, we just don't know. That's the thing. It's unknown. And because it's unknown, to draw it back to financial, you've got to really nail those first three windows, because you largely, I think, you lose control gradually the longer you're alive. You know, things get taken away from you. So you need to have financial security to fall back on. Like you know, even if you have a good idea, you're not going to have the energy to really push through. So you need that money, you know, money. I know it gets vilified, but man, when you're older, you really want that money there.
No, it's true. And think about it. Our seniors are living longer than ever, too.
Mm-hmm.
So you reach a point where you can't do anything for yourself anymore, but you're going to live like another 10, sometimes even 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
What happens?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What happens? Nursing home or hospice, or, you know, your kids have to take care of you. It's one of those things where I personally, when I have children, I personally don't want to ever be in a position where my children are in a financial rut because of me, you know? And I'm sure everybody feels that way. Nobody wants their children to be financially stressed because they got older and they weren't able to provide enough for themselves. You know, it's a very scary thought to me personally. I'm sure you guys agree.
No, it sounds like something we can talk about in our October Scary Money series.
I think it is. I think that's a perfect topic. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, on the flip side to that, Sierra, you have people, I mean, of course, you have the well-known folks like the Buffetts of the world and so on that have done extremely well. And that's older, that's 90, right? So you have average people who are still in very good health, and they are, you know, in that age bracket. And it just reiterates that you don't want to have to be forced to spend your latter years, you know, not doing the things you really want to do.
Exactly.
So it's really critical prior to that time. And I mean, Maurice, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that Buffett hit his stride until, was it 40s or was it 50s?
50. Most of his money was made after 50.
That's just remarkable to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's absolutely remarkable.
Crazy. Yeah,
so it's never too late, but there is value in starting early.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. We should end it right there. I don't think we need to say.
No, that's it. That's drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, you want to end it right there? We totally can.
Thank you for listening to the Wilson Wealth Show, a thought-provoking show about building wealth in the new economy. Each week, members of the Wilson Wealth team and their guests will discuss how to navigate the world of stocks, real estate, and entrepreneurship to help you build wealth in the new economy. Please join us next time on the Wilson Wealth Show.